the different types of errors that we see in Excel and how to deal with them. So let's say, for example, we have three cells and we are multiplying the two cells and getting the value in the third one. Okay, so I'm just multiplying the two values, and when I drag it down, so it gives me a value error and it tells me that function multiply expects two numbers. You cannot multiply text with a number. So that's a value error. And why it is important is that's because sometimes numbers can be not numbers in Excel. So, for example, if there is a space in a number, so it still is, it looks like a number, but it is not considered a number. So, there will be value error, and you will be pulling your hairs and trying to find where the problem is. So, basically, if there is a space, or let's say if a number is specifically formatted as text, so it is calculating if the number is a text formatted as text, it is number. But if there are space or if there are other some symbols inside the cell, so it will not consider them as number, and that will become a problem. Okay, so the value error means that the values you are manipulating are of not the correct type. See, okay, so you have to deal with each of the values used in the formula, and you have to find which of them is not formatted correctly. And if there are multiple columns, so that is usually a bit problematic. So you have to do data cleanup to make sure that the values are according to the required format. Similarly, there is name error. So the name error means that you probably misspelled a function name, a formula name. So in this case, I have set a formula here, and the formula is for sum, but this is in this case, I have written a wrong name here. So I have used double M instead of single M. So that is why it is giving me an error. So name error indicates that there is a mistyping in the formula names. That's the problem. Similarly, you often see reference errors inside in many of the Excel files. And why is that? That is because there were three columns over here: column A, column B, and column C. And what I did is I selected column B and I just deleted it. And actually, I was summing those three columns: column A, column B, and column C. I was summing those values. So when I deleted the column B, what happened is it could not understand what to do it, so it changed it to reference error. And in this case, sometimes I don't even know which cell was there, like if it was B or it was N or some other cell. So in this case, when you delete a column or a row, a lot of data is lost. So whenever you are deleting a column, make sure that it is not referenced anywhere else, because after deleting, you don't know where it was. So basically, you have to be very careful. Instead of deleting columns, like for example, let's say I sum these values and I drag it down. If I delete this column, there will be reference error. So a better idea is not to delete a column. I can simply select it and press delete on the keyboard. So pressing delete on the keyboard is different from selecting delete column from the menu. How? Because here the column is still there, the reference is still there, and so I can come back here and see what is wrong, what went wrong. I accidentally maybe deleted this column. So basically, you need to know specifically. It is not a good habit to delete columns or delete rows or delete cells by right clicking and going to this menu. So always use the keyboard delete button if you actually want to remove the values. And if you don't want this column to be hindering you, you can simply hide this column from the view so that it does not disturb you. I hope I'm clear. So the third kind of error is division by zero, fourth, I guess, a division by zero error. We have dealt it with it in the past, in the first or second example that we did. So basically, when you try to divide a value by zero or by blanks, so it creates a problem. So to solve that, we can use if error function. And if it is not important, we can just leave it blank so that it does not it does not interfere with what we are doing, or it doesn't look ugly. Okay, so similarly, another kind of error is number error. And this kind of error appears when you cannot do certain mathematical operations with certain numbers. For example, in this case, I'm using the square root function to take the square root of this column B, and we cannot take square root of a negative value. So that is basically why it is giving me a number error. So if a mathematical operation cannot be done with the given value, it gives you a number error. We can't basically do anything except using if error or if conditions to check if the problem can be solved. Similarly, there is any error, and any error usually appears when VLOOKUP does not find a specific value. So in this case, what I'm doing is, let's say this VLOOKUP is searching in this first column, and it is trying to look up the value 4, and the value 4 does not exist here. So that is why it is causing error. So let's say we had an value 4, and it was another apple, let's say, and let's change it to E8. So if the value is there, the problem is solved. But if the value is formatted differently, for example, I just added an apostrophe before this number to make it look like text, so it cannot find that value. So to find a lot of times the problem with VLOOKUP is that you are trying to find numbers that look like numbers but are actually text or are formatted as text. So that creates a problem a lot of times. And for example, people usually align them like this. So they have different kind of alignment like this. For example, these are numbers, and if it is left aligned, so that is text. But people have a habit of aligning the numbers in center, and now you don't understand why this value is not a number. Or as I said, if there is a space in it or any other symbol inside it, or maybe you copied from internet and there was an extra enter or something else inside it which is not visible. So VLOOKUP returns an error, any error in that case, because that specific exact value, let's say value 4 in this case, and let's specify it AE. So the value 4 is not there, but if I change it to text, so the value, it does find the value. So basically you have to be careful about the data types.